broadcast with this super news break. It has been 3 days since AAP MLA Amanatullah Khan was arrested by the Anti-Corruption Bureau. He faces charges of favoritism in hiring employees to the Delhi Waqf Board as its chairman, as well as financial irregularities in management of the Waqf accounts and properties. Now today, Times Now shows you stinging proof of how Amanatullah was abusing his powers as the Waqf Board chairperson. Watch this stinging indictment of what clearly looks like unbridled quest to make money. How a primary school in Fatehpur that came under the Waqf was demolished on Waqf Board orders to make way for 11 shops that were allegedly allotted to Amanatullah Khan's aides for 35 to 40 lakh rupees each, while sparing zero thought for the young children who had been deprived of their school.
फिर बोर्ड लगा दिया स्कूल खोलेंगे, दिल्ली वक्फ पब्लिक स्कूल का बोर्ड लगा दिया। और ये से उन्होंने जनता को बेवकूफ़ बनाने का लगाया था, दिल्ली वक्फ पब्लिक स्कूल बोर्ड लगा दिया। 2 साल से वो बोर्ड लगा दिया।
कब की बात है?
2 साल के अंदर की सारी बातें। और दुकान अभी बनी थी,
दुकानें अभी बनी और ये वक्फ बोर्ड की ही दुकानें हैं अभी। नहीं तो ऐसा जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन में आया है कि 3 वो क्या नाम है 35 लाख रुपया तक किराया है उनका।
नहीं, 35 लाख रुपये सिक्योरिटी है, सिक्योरिटी का मालिक ही बन गया ये लोग।
और प्राइमरी स्कूल था पहले, उनको तोड़कर फिर दुकान
भाई वहाँ सगा भाई यहाँ पर है, और
इसका सीधा पैसा दिल्ली वक्फ बोर्ड को जाता है अमानतुल्लाह खान। और ये जो दुकानें इनको दी गई हैं ये क्या इनके करीबी हैं या फिर
ये सब जो है
किस तरीके से दी गई है?
वहाँ करीबी समझो।
अच्छा, किराया अंदर ही फतेहपुर की कितना देती है? अच्छा, वक्फ बोर्ड में जाता है।
ये वक्फ बोर्ड की जगह है।
तो सरकार ने सील करी थी?
सील ये जो अभी मौजूदा चेयरमैन है
अमानतुल्लाह खान,
हाँ, इनके पीरियड में लगी थी।
अच्छा, उनकी पीरियड में भी लगी थी। फिर अमानतुल्लाह खान ने इसको दोबारा से खुलवाया है, दुकानों को नया बनवाया। पहले प्राइमरी स्कूल था ना यहाँ पे, वही तो बताते हैं। हाँ।
So while Amanatullah Khan and the shopkeepers are to be believed his cronies minted money, the children studying in classes 1 to 5th were left to fend for themselves.
तो वो जो प्राइमरी स्कूल के बच्चे थे वो कहाँ चले गए? तो ये वक्फ बोर्ड का स्कूल है ना, दिल्ली वक्फ बोर्ड का? दिल्ली सरकार का स्कूल है ना? गवर्नमेंट एफिलिएटेड स्कूल है, गवर्नमेंट एफिलिएटेड स्कूल है, लेकिन वक्फ बोर्ड का
Well, there are political reactions coming in as well. The BJP is now asking if this is the reality of the Delhi school model that the Kejriwal government keeps touting, also questioning if these blind spots are being created due to rampant appeasement.
Well, this is a big scam you exposed, and it's clearly that they have shut a school to do a commercial activity. The education department, Mr. Sisodia's department, or Mr. Sisodia himself is also involved in this. So there's a collusion between Mr. Sisodia and Mr. Khan to make money out after shutting a school, after shutting a primary school. Mr. Kejriwal need to answer. He talks about his education model. This is the education model, that you are using the school property, the government school property, for your personal objectives. We'll hope that the LG will give an order for inquiry into it, and then let's get to the root of the subject and understand how come a individual or a work board take over a running school.
Let's go across to Aishwarya, who in fact is getting us details of this news break. Aishwarya, you spoke to the individuals in Fatehpuri who at this point of time are clueless as to where did these children go. And the BJP has once again slammed Aam Aadmi Party, calling this a school Gotala now. Mr. R.P. Singh of the BJP in fact is also accusing Manish Sisodia of being involved along with Amanatullah Khan.
Well, on one side, the ACB is investigating, and Amanatullah Khan is in a 4-day custody for being involved in the corruption charges at the time when he was the chairperson of the Delhi Waqf Board, and also for the hirings which was done during his tenure and the favoritism that he has shown. Now, to be very categorical about the facts here, that this is the primary Fatehpuri school, which is just located adjacent to the Fatehpuri Masjid in Chandni Chowk, and from class 1st to 4th there was a primary school which was there and was running since decades, and just few years back this school was shut, and 5 to 6 months back, when Amanatullah Khan was the chairperson, he ordered and on his instructions there were 11 shops that were established, and the school was completely shut, and from these shops what we have been told is that 35 to 40 lakh each was given to Delhi Waqf Board by these shop owners as a lease security amount, and currently 15 to 20,000 rupees is coming as a rent from these shop owners. Now, who are these shop owners? Who have been allotted, and whether there was a tender process? The shop owners clearly have been claiming that there was no tender process, and this is just being given through favoritism to the close dates of Amanatullah Khan, in which now the ACB is investigating. So yes, there have been a lot of questions that certainly is being asked on the Delhi education policy, that when and why this school was completely demolished and the shops were built at that place where primary school. So currently there is no primary school. Only class 6 to 12th senior secondary Fatehpuri school runs on the 2nd and 3rd floor, and on the ground floor there are shops which have been made by Delhi Waqf Board.
All right, Aishwarya, stay on with us. Let's also, take this across to our guests. We're joined by Niti Jain, spokesperson of the BJP. We have Manasvi Thapar, lawyer and political analyst, joining us in the broadcast, and Sumansi Raman, also a political analyst. Good evening to all of you. Manasvi Thapar, one after the other, several such, scams being unearthed by the agencies. The BJP claims this actually exposes the reality of the school model, and there are a couple of questions that Mr. Amanatullah needs to answer. Why was a primary school demolished, and in place of that, shops allotted to individuals who are being called his aides?
Yeah, so Swati, there are limited information which we have, limited facts which we have as of now. The property was of Waqf Board, which is what I understand. So Waqf Board decided in its totality that they need to demolish the school, and the students must have been rehabilitated somewhere else, and they must have been given the opportunity to study at a different Waqf school. And then they decided that there has to be some shops to be built up, and the money does not go to Amanatullah, it should go to the Waqf Board. If the money directly goes to Amanatullah or his aide, that directly amounts to corruption. If it does not, that is what is the decision of Waqf Board. So we need to understand, the ACB right now needs to investigate what is the reality, what is the totality. It is very easy to say there is this amount of corruption, but there has to be a trail.
Couple of things. The allegation is that these individuals to whom the shops were allotted are close aides of Amanatullah Khan. So the proximity there definitely needs to be questioned. One. Now the Fatehpuri Muslim school warden says he has no idea about where the kids went, whether they went to another school, whether that kind of facility was provided to them. The warden has no idea, absolutely no idea as to what happened to those primary school kids.
Yeah. So these are two questions. One is part of the allegation, other is where the students went. So part of the allegation, so these are allegations raised by BJP, and it is ACB who is investigating. So BJP does not trust the ACB. That is what BJP is inclining. No, I would want to say that we should trust the ACB and let the investigation be completed, and there should be a... Please don't interfere when I am making my point. Let the investigation be completed and let us trust the ACB.
Okay, but Manasvi, it is a government. It's a government-affiliated school. Yes, it is on the Waqf Board land, but it's a government-affiliated school. A go-ahead must have been given by the government. The Waqf Board must have spoken to the government, and BJP says this is your true face. You're demolishing schools to make place for shops, for your own aides, and then you're talking about global recognition to your model. I want to bring in Niti Jain as well. Niti Jain, the allegation is that, you are constantly targeting Aam Aadmi Party netas. Just because Gujarat elections are near. That's a standard accusation that the Aam Aadmi Party is leveling against the BJP.
Look, this is your thing. We did not do this thing. This is your information that you're bringing to the fore. And the question is very legitimate. I congratulate you for doing this, because the question needs to be asked, on what basis did the Waqf Board decide that the school needs to be shut down? Was there any notice given? Was there any tender released for these shops to be given to the people? No, it is, sir, you can be vague and naive about who got what and everything. The question is that the aides have gotten this money. The aides that have been arrested are saying that the money that was found in their houses was kept there on insistence of Mr. Khan, and the weaponry that was found was there because of his insistence and to be used when it was required. So those are all the questions that you need to answer. Who gave the permission to shut down the school? Where are these kids? So the three questions that I need to ask you is this your education model where you shut down the schools and get money, whether for Waqf board or Amanatullah, that is for ACB to decide. The second is this your Qattar Imandar Sarkar that you were talking about? Because you are certainly making money out of whatever you are doing. And the third is, you said hum rajniti badalne aaye. This is your appeasement. This is your appeasement politics that you're doing. Why is it that Waqf gets prominence over education? And education is all you have been saying we are doing. This is your education model. And that is a question that you need to answer, sir.
Sumansi Raman, what do you think is happening? What do you think is happening? Is this just at this point of time a blame game that we are witnessing on every issue, or there are merits in the case and questions need to be posed to Amanatullah Khan, who was then the chairperson of the Waqf board when the decision was taken?
I think we are now moving from, from throwing allegations, which had at least, a few years ago, there would have been some element of impropriety and so on, to what is basically a kind of a campaign against the Aam Aadmi Party. Manish Sisodia, every kind of issue was thrown at him, raid in his house and raid in his lockers, and nothing was uncovered. And after that, now I think they've moved on to Amanatullah Khan. Now let's look at this very clearly. There can be 100 legitimate reasons to shut down a school, including A, not enough patronage. There may have been another school run by the Waqf board in the vicinity where they might have thought it better to club. One second. I did not interrupt you. I did not interrupt you. Please don't interrupt. We cannot run a slander campaign on national television, which is what is being done now, without a single evidence of corruption. Now, where is the corruption? This is an official decision which has been taken by the Waqf board. All those people whom in all these videos that you showed said that the money is going to the Waqf board. None of them said we are paying Amanatullah Khan on the side.
But he was presiding over the board.
They are paying the money.
He was not just presiding over the board.
The Waqf board
but
is
it was also given to individuals close to him.
One second. This whole bit of individuals close to him, close associates, we've been seeing this for 5 years now. Every time Aam Aadmi Party, somebody raided, close associates, you don't even know.
But Mr. Sumansi Raman, you know the charges that he is facing. One of them also is irregularities in terms of the funds of the Waqf board. In another case.
Liquor policy was given to quote-unquote close associates of Manish Sisodia. Something else was done by close associates of Satyendra Jain. I mean, this is becoming a farce. I mean, how long is this going to go on? I just hope the Gujarat elections get over soon.
Okay, so all right. Sumansi Raman, you're saying this is just a slander campaign against the Aam Aadmi Party and there are no merits to this. Niti Jain of the BJP says that this is the true face of the Aam Aadmi Party. Government in Delhi demolished schools and in that place gives shops to one's close associates. Manasvi Thapar, Niti Jain and Sumansi Raman, thank you very much for getting us your perspectives on the broadcast.